And especially the higher end stores now, they're saying that a lot of like the boutiques and places like that, they don't take cash anymore. So you can go in there and you may like your design of this, or you may like your upscale that, and it's like, madam, sir, please take out your digital wallet, or please take out your credit card. But the days of you, pulling out your wallet to feel like you're impressing somebody because you got a bunch of hundreds. Okay, that's nice. I'm not saying that. Yeah, that's good. We see you have cash. But as the science states, we don't take that. So that reverse ATM that you're looking at is probably for those individuals that's saying, okay, we're about to go out on the town, we're gonna go to this high-end space, and all of a sudden they're alluding to the fact that we do not take cash. Whereas cash used to be king, resources is king. Your ability to have the money is king. But that is desire doesn't mean that we desire to have the currency, the actual paper or coin currency. No, we do not. We like the fact that you're going to use the kiosk or pull out your card. Next, we can see right there, and all of a sudden, within about 2 or 3 minutes, we can see, okay, Mr. Clarke's table, there were 4 or 5 people sitting there. They ordered this amount of food, and they paid their bill, and they just deciding to sit there right now, enjoying the evening away, and we'll allow them to sit because we see they've already taken care of their tab. We don't even have to go over there and bother. You don't even go over there and be like, excuse me, sir, no. We notice, oh, you took care of the tab already. Enjoy yourselves. Just please, the restaurant closes at this time. Enjoy yourself. You paid your bill. Just something to think about. Just something really, really to think about. Why did I go backwards? Okay, there we go. Okay. Cryptocurrency. Dr. Cheryl, can you read that paragraph for me, please?
Mm. Cryptocurrency is digital money secured by how you say that?
Cryptography. Cryptography.
Cryptography. As of 2024, 562 million people worldwide, about 6.8% of the global population, own some form of digital currency, up to 33%, and from 420 million in 2023. Many operate on a blockchain technology.
Mm-hmm. And so as of 2024, you got to think about that. Almost 7% of the population have some form of digital currency. Not a make wrong. Some people have currency as high as the Bitcoins and Ethereums to some of the other stable coins. Hopefully you don't have some of those meme coins that won't hold value for the long term. But you start to recognize and understand that you are in the spaces now where, some form of digital currency, even if you don't own any now, you make those choices, between you and your financial advisor to what it is that you desire to hold on to. If it's a long-term play for you, you make those respective choices. And so we give you the 3 areas, well, the 2 major coins and then the stable coins. So Bitcoin is the one that everyone talks about. That's the one that is the most widely held, and that's the number one. That's the one that has the most value, which is the Bitcoin. And Ethereum is number 2, which now, fluctuates, still thousands per coin, but it's still not at the level of Bitcoin. And then stable coins are those pegged to be traditional currencies for stability. Now, what's interesting is that you have some of these central banks now that are attempting to get on the blockchain as well. And they're trying to digitize their regular currency to move in that space where it's like, which America is also in that area as well. That's why when people didn't understand to see that when they started talking about no longer printing the penny, that was the beginning stage of saying, wait a minute, we're moving from these coins and this paper to eventually everything's going to be, ones and zeros, binary code. And like as Dave was alluding to, he desires that paper. But I know most of the bills that I have now, that I remember I used to have a bunch of paper coming to the house. I've seen less and less paper coming to the house as they keep making those requests. Can you please go to paperless? Can you please go into the space that we have your email? We've confirmed your email. Okay, from now on, we can send you the PDF form or the digital form or digital statement of what it is that you owe. And just file, and you can probably click in that same email to their respective, hopefully secured website, take care of the transaction that way. Whereas back in the day, we would say, I got to go get a money order. I got to go find a check. I got to put the check in the mail. I have to do it by so often and this, that, and the third. Nowadays, you can pay. The check is due on the 18th or the bill is due on the 18th. You could pay it online on the 18th in the same way if you, back in the day, had to run to a bank. So we have to look at it that when it comes to digital money or even the digital landscape, that is no longer in the space that we're just doing stuff from, using Dave's words, the dinosaur space. Because eventually we know that the dinosaurs became extinct. And since we don't desire anyone to become extinct, now it's about how do we become much more capable and adept in this respective space. And there's various cryptocurrencies out there. I know in the last administration, before this one came back in, certain cryptocurrencies were starting to grow and starting to become a little bit much more worth. And then all of a sudden, you have this administration now that started, putting out their own meme coins and tariffs and all that stuff. And that started, destabilizing, not destabilizing the currency, but destabilizing the worth. And now we just have to, sometimes you got to go through those seasons where you're in the valley. You can't wait till you start coming back up into air. So it's always up to you. And just like we said here in this platform, we talk about this stuff, but we don't advise you. We don't tell you what to get. Purchase this, buy that. No. You make up your own mind. Please do your research. Do your own research. Even find your CFPs and find individuals out there, certified financial planners that you feel comfortable enough that you trust, and make your decisions appropriately and competently. Don't do anything in haste, and don't do anything in fear. Blockchain. Blockchain is like a digital ledger. Think of it as a public record book that is shared, going back to what Dr. Shaw was saying about the past books and the bank books, like back in the day with Dollar Savings Bank or Immigrant Savings Bank. Yes, I'm dating myself. Or Apple Savings Bank, or those different respective savings banks. You put money in the bank, you go in there with your passbook, baby, put my balance on my book, and you hand them the book, and the teller would put it in the machine, and the machine would do its thing. And all of a sudden you get back and you see, okay, I made 45 cents in interest. Okay, thank you. And all of a sudden you can see everything on the ledger in the bank book, and you walk out the bank. Well, these days, that's not how it works anymore. But even though it's sort of on that same concept. So think of it as a public record book that is shared, secure, transparent, and difficult to alter. The reason why it's shared, it's shared because at least it's on a respective chain. It's on a particular network. It's difficult to alter because once you have the only key to your digital wallet, then hopefully if you haven't shared that wallet and have not forgotten that passcode or passwords, it's hard for anyone to, mess with what you have as in that respective wallet. It's secure, and it becomes very secure because you start to recognize that, going back to what I was saying about the passwords in the digital space of it, someone doesn't have your code or your ability to, alter your wallet. It's your wallet, and it's transparent because you can see that, oh, this person owns 25 Bitcoins. Like, wow, that's a nice little piece in their wallet. But you can't do anything with it. You know that they own it, but you can't do anything with it unless they allow and do a transaction with you. So this technology reduces the need of intermediaries. That means banks, brokers, and clearinghouses, making transactions faster, cheaper, and more transparent across borders. This is the reason why that they talk about when you hear people say about the dark web or the gray areas of the web, and people say, we can't monitor, people's transaction. Cryptocurrency is a great way to share resources in those respective areas as we've heard and have been discovered. And they say like usually those who are doing stuff nefariously or under the table and things of that nature, they like that. So wait a minute, I don't have to sit there and walk with a suitcase of cash. Okay, I'm gonna send this to you, X amount of Bitcoin, blah 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 blah, for this, and however the transaction goes. And the most important point is about it's more transparent across borders. So that means someone in America be dealing with someone in Asia, and before you know it, whereas when you had to do a check or some sort of piece of paper to send finances, now it's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm on this particular platform. They accept your currency. They redigitize it and share it back in my currency locally. And next, you can pay me based upon how we have agreed upon you should pay me. So that's part of the blockchain as well. So even mobile payments, that's an aspect of it. It's not necessarily blockchain, but it has its own network because mobile payments deal with the fact that they may be on respective bank clearing networks that see that you have the dollars here and you're sending the dollars over there. So hopefully it wasn't so much that blockchain or my explanation made it harder. It's just basically, oh, there's Miss Johnson. It's basically uh, a space or a network that allows for transactions to happen. Yes, Miss Johnson.
Okay, get off mute. I wanted to add a little bit to your definition.
Good.
So the easy way to think of the blockchain, everything exists in a master book.
Mm.
That's called a ledger. Every transaction is chained together. So if you buy something for $20, then I buy something for $40, and Dr. Clarke buys something for $50, and Dave buys something for $60, they're blocked together. You can't interrupt that. If someone tries to like delete your purchase, the block shuts down and there's like a recalculation. The good thing about that master book, there are thousands of copies of it distributed everywhere. So you trying to falsify or change information is not possible. And if you do, thousands of people can type in your transaction code and see exactly what you did. Not what you purchased, but how much you moved along the chain. So that's what makes it really secure and transparent. We can all look at it and difficult to alter because that would throw off every transactioning happening along the chain. That's just a little addendum. I'm complete.
That's cool. So in other words, if someone tried to cheat, they can't necessarily cheat the system.
Exactly.
Can't cheat. Now with cash, you can sometimes cheat. Think about it. You're supposed to send $50 and only sent the person 40. Now all of a sudden there's a disagreement. But here on the blockchain, like, nah, you're supposed to send me $40. Okay. For whatever it is that you're expecting is sent to you, I'm going to see that you sent the 40. You got to see you sent the 40. Okay, here's your thing. I sent 35. Well, that's not 40. Make up the difference and make sure that your transaction and the code that's being shared across the network is going to digitize and recognize that. Thank you for that, Ms. Johnson. Thank you for that. Can cryptocurrency replace money? Not completely. Today, governments still issue legal currency, and most transactions worldwide still rely on traditional banking systems. While 562 million people own crypto globally, cryptocurrency has expanded financial options but has not replaced traditional money. Both systems currently exist together, and understanding both is increasingly essential. And as we can see, traditional money is government issued, widely accepted, regulated, and stable, while as cryptocurrency is decentralized, borderless, volatile, and growing in adoption. So, Gregory, why would you say your generation would like cryptocurrency more than traditional money from your standpoint?
I say it's just easier and it's quick. Um, we don't have to do a drive to go to a bank to go take out money, things like that. It's just accessible to us right at the moment. It's quick, whatever we need it. So that's what I'll say. And also, I feel like crypto could replace money because everything is digital. Not a lot of people are using paper. Um, from what I see,
Mm-hmm.
sure, there's plenty of people still doing it in the world, but from what I see, it's not much, not complete.
So you feel, just an addendum question to you. So do you think paper money is going to end with your generation?
It's possible.
Hmm. Interesting. Hmm. What do you think, Miss Johnson? Do you think we're getting in that stage where we're going to no longer have paper?
I think we touched on it last week. It's not accounting for I don't like using the word poor or destitute,
Mm-hmm.
but those not as technologically savvy,
Mm-hmm.
those who have a animus against anything digital, and just those who like like the old way of transacting. So I wouldn't say in the next 10 years, I would say in about 25. 'Cause I know there was like a push like during COVID time, like, well, money's dirty, money can transmit germs.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking in the next 30 years, as the boomers die out, there'll be less of a push to hold on to paper money. So yeah, I say in about 30 years,
Hmm.
I'm complete.
Interesting. Dr. Cheryl, what say you as an exer?
Are you asking for our generation or the
No,
kids'
no,
generation?
no. Gregory gave his perspective, and we got Nicole. I'm asking you as an exer, what do you feel about, where the landscape is, even as an entrepreneur yourself, seeing how things are moving in the landscape?
Yeah, I think that by the time that the alphas come in place, I don't think that paper money is going to be a thing. I mean, they're already trying to do away with coins, and so by the time the alphas get really our age, I don't think so. I think it's gonna the alpha generation is really gonna take it out. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Um, they're getting, just with this currency and to JR's point, one day I ran out the house. I was talking with Nicole on the phone. I ran out the house and I didn't have my purse with me. I said, "Oh my God, Nicole, I left my purse." She says, "Do you have your wallet on your phone?" And I said, "Yes." And I was gonna go all the way back home.
Mm-mm-mm.
And she says, use your wallet." And that was a literally first time, and I've been I've been just
Oh,
cooking and
Lord.
clacking ever since on my phone.
Oh, geez.
I just take the phone out and you know but it's dangerous because
Mm.
the dangerous part is that you gotta be very responsible for
Mm.
what you have because that quick instantaneous thing, and sometimes you're just tapping and tapping and tapping and going. So traditional money has its perks, but you got to also understand that put a limit on what you do and be wise with the mindset of money. And I'm complete.
Excellent. Mr. Grinley, do you have your digital wallet? Or are we talking a little a different conversation?
I think cash is a beautiful thing. The thing that was going through my mind, though, you're jumping on an airplane to go somewhere internationally, and they say, you can't carry more than a certain amount of cash
Mm-hmm.
out of the country. But you have a credit card that allows you access 3, 4, 5, 10 times what you can't carry as physical cash.
Mm.
So one wonders what is really behind the move to get rid of the physical money. Because there are times when you hear, if you pay for something in cash, you tend to be a little more frugal than you just whipping out a credit card and you tap it and you go. And you don't actually recognize until you get the bill or you get the statement how much cash you circulated without that being the original intent. Whereas if you have the physical cash, you might be a little more hesitant because it's right there in your face. So you have to wonder if there is a rationale from the business end where it might be driving you to spend or circulate more than you intended to because you're using a card. So I guess each method has its advantage and disadvantage, but you wonder sometimes what's behind going into an establishment that says we don't accept cash. Is it possible that they're not accepting cash? At the end of the day, their bottom line looks much better than a similar business engaging in cash transactions. I'm complete.
Excellent. Great perspective. Great perspective. Anything, Ms. McIntyre, you wish to add before we move on? Any thoughts about this? Excellent.
Sorry, I was muted. No, I think, I'm in agreement with what Nicole said, that the digital and is here. However, it's going to take a while before it's fully embraced, not just embraced, but is used by everyone. Yeah. So I say I would give it 25 to 30 years. So I'm definitely in agreement with her statement.
Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent. Let's move on. Okay, the digital economy. Money increasingly moves digitally. The global payments industry generates 2.5 trillion in annual revenue from 2 quadrillion in value flow. And AI, digital assets, and new payment rails are reshaping who leads this space. So we're talking about your remote workers, distributed teams earning and transacting across borders digitally, like we have virtual assistants who are in other parts of the globe who do excellent work. And in order to remit payments to them, either myself or Dr. Cheryl will go through, the different respective platform gateways and, If they did X amount of dollars worth for US dollars worth of work, it'll translate it into their respective currency and send it along its way. So remote work, of course, is part of the digital economy, digital businesses. There are more and more people now who are creating online businesses that are totally online. Some businesses don't even have to stock. They print on demand. Some certain businesses like, okay, so wait a minute, you're shipping it for me? No. Everything is print on demand. When they order it, you have the fulfillment space that we pay their percentage to, they fulfill it. So, even these days, being in business doesn't mean that you have to literally run out there and look for some sort of brick and mortar real estate that you have to set up shop in. You can set up shop with a website or a landing page. Online investing. Retail investors accessing global markets from any device. And as Ms. Johnson was alluding to, especially when COVID hit, that was the reason what helped blow up Robinhood and some of the other digital spaces, Webull and things like that, because now people still desired to have their money working. It's going to lead to home. So the adaptation now became a space where, okay, whereas before, you have to go down to Wall Street and dress up and hopefully they'll accept your money to invest it for you. The banks had all the power. When things started to get more decentralized, it's like, wait a minute. Now it's more people-centric instead of system-centric. Artificial intelligence. AI driving fraud detection, personalization, and financial automation. That's one aspect of artificial intelligence that is excellent. It is helping to keep down now. Fraud is still happening. There's always going to be fraud. There's always going to be scammers. There's always going to be people, your gray areas of the web, your dark web. That's not going anywhere. But the ability now to recognize how certain things are being detected is putting much more of an onus now to show that, whereas before people were nervous to walk around with a debit card in the early 90s, to now that people are comfortable now of Zelling or here in the United States using some of the Venmos or Cash Apps and the sort. And your global transactions. Instant cross-border payments supported by 3.6 trillion transactions worldwide. Think about that. 3.6 trillion, not even billion, trillion transactions worldwide. That we're in a space now that you may have a developer in New Delhi, India, who's working for you, and you sit there and be like, how am I going to pay him? Easily. Find out which payment platform that y'all agree upon, and you're sending dollars, and all of a sudden he gets paid in rupees. With nothing the wiser, with the middleman probably getting their percentage and their little cut because you're going across their network. So the digital part of the economy is not going anywhere. It actually is going to get even more amplified. And when it gets to, as they move into certain spaces with facial recognition or even pupil recognition and the like, or some people who may get nervous and bring religion into it, talking about you're gonna have the mark of the beast in order to transact. Like, no, some people are already saying that the mark of the beast is already in our hands. Because as we've even had the conversation here this evening, people can go into a space and be like, dude, like, wait a minute. I didn't even ask you for your credit. I didn't ask you for an ID to prove who you are. You put the stuff here on the counter. I rang it up as the cashier. You whipped out your phone. You said, dude, I see that the receipt's starting to print because it was approved, and now all of a sudden I'm giving you your stuff. Remember back in the day when you whipped out a credit card and people would say, okay, man, please have your piece of ID to see so it matches? Those days are very far in between. That was so 20th century. Any thoughts? Any takeaways? Anything that comes to mind as we're now in a more digital economy? And as we're preparing for the future, digital payments are expected to exceed 33.5 trillion by 2030. Financial literacy now requires understanding a broader set of skills than ever before. Ms. Johnson, can you read number 1 for us?
Traditional and digital banking, understanding how both systems work and interact.
And as we know, as we have the young gentleman, Gregory Jr. in the space, they're more in the digital world. They don't really mess with traditional. And even those banks recognize now they're not even attempting to go for them because they're already considered like digital natives. They're not even thinking about the brick and mortars. Whereas we have someone like probably like a Mr. Grindley is more from the traditional space. He likes the fact of the paper. He likes the fact of going in there and sometimes talking to the gentleman inside the respective bank, regardless of it's private banking or not, and to sit and have a conversation, be face to face. So both worlds can exist right now and still interact at some level. Dr. Cheryl, can you read number 2 for us?
Cybersecurity, protecting your identity and assets in a digital world.
Everything should be secured. Make sure that the networks and the spaces that you're going into, especially even the websites, have some sort of encryption to protect yourself. Because when you hear, all those things, a data breach, usually it happens because someone was not securing the information that they had. So cybersecurity is so important now, especially when it comes to digital payments, but even that is becoming even much more powerful as we move forward. Mrs. McIntyre, can you read number 3 for us?
Yes, I can. Digital assets and investing, navigating crypto, stocks, and emerging asset classes.
Remember, there are different classes of financial instruments. Regardless if we're talking about derivatives, regardless if we're talking about options, regardless if we're talking about cryptocurrency, if we're talking about stocks, we're talking about bonds, we're talking about REITs, we're talking about ETFs, all of that great stuff. But these days, with the advantageousness of the cell phone, you can have all that information readily at the touch of a button in your hand. Whereas before, and yes, I'm dating myself, when you had to go to the library to sometimes have to get certain information out. Or hopefully you had an encyclopedia in home that you had something that you can skim through that particular volume to find what you need to look for. And hopefully you didn't get in trouble if you cut out any pictures out of it to put it as a part of your report. You don't need that these days. So everything is digital. The access to information is always there, but you have to make the choice to allow yourself to be abreast of it. Mr. JR, if you can read number 4 for us.
Artificial intelligence, understanding how AI shapes financial decisions and services.
These days, you can think of something and you start to recognize how all the simple AIs around you are always listening, because then all of a sudden you open up your cell phone, something you may have expressed, something you may have thought about, something you may have searched for, all of a sudden you're starting to see those ads are populating up. That's all simple AI. The algorithm is seeing based upon what you are searching for and starts to figure out what is the thing that's going to hook you in to utilize the resources that you have. And we've had simple AI ever since Siri and Alexa first started talking their little wonderful heads up. And we can't even, let's not even talk about Gemini and Google. They be always listening. Everybody's listening. And number 5, continuous learning, staying current as technology and regulations evolve rapidly. Yes, that's the main thing about this whole situation about digital money. We all have to be continuous learners. Stuff that we learned 5 years ago, especially before AI became prevalent, is not conducive for AI world. We're talking 5 years ago. We're not talking 50. We're not talking 10. We're not talking 20. We're talking 5 years. 5 years ago, we were still in that middle portion of the pandemic in 2021. AI, ChatGPT wasn't released until November of 2022. And then Claude was probably roughly close to about a year after that, after some of the people who helped start ChatGPT decided to start something to compete with ChatGPT. So even AI, in the way that it's being utilized, in the way that we have access for it, in the way how it's a great assistant, is not even 4 years old. So think about that. If we're not staying current in the technologies and being abreast of how we can utilize these things for our benefit, that's how we fall behind. And here at the circle, we're not allowing those who are part of the circle to fall behind. We're going to keep this stuff in rotation, in conversation, and in elevation so that we are aware of what's happening around us. And the final reflection. Money has always evolved. The people who thrive financially are usually those who adapt to the change while understanding timeless financial principles. See, just because we're moving into a digital space doesn't mean like the wisdom of a Warren Buffett or some of the other wise individuals who allow their dollars to compound interest and have certain tenets when it comes to investing. Those can still hold, those principles don't disappear. The principles are fine. It's how you adapt the principles in this space. And sometimes if you put yourself in a space and say, oh, just because we're dealing with new stuff, I don't have to use the principles of old or those things that have lasted the test of time, you'll be doing yourself a disservice. So recognizing that if you're willing to use those proper principles in this digital space, you can start to see that you can still lead the type of life that you so desire. So some of the discussion questions that you can think for yourself and talk to yourself about, think about, and ponder upon. What changes in money concern you the most? Maybe you're going to consider the pace of change. Maybe the privacy levels, access to financial systems. I would say for me, that's the only thing that I would have concern of is the privacy. You don't necessarily want everyone in your business. But the change, I have no issue with change. Change is good. Change allows to show that you're evolving and learning and growing. And we know that systems always change. And are you willing to adapt to the systems? My only concern would be the privacy. You don't necessarily want people in your business. Which digital financial tools do you already use? Reflect on the respective apps, the wallets that you utilize, and even the online banking in your own daily life to this very moment. I know about maybe 20, 25 years ago, people did not desire to be talking to no bank over no computer. Somebody gonna take my information. Somebody gonna do this and do that. Man, listen. That's the best, easiest thing where you can pay a bill, and as we all alluded to, or I need to transfer money from this account to that account, or pay this bill. If I have a bill with the bank, and I can just, the online banking is part of our daily exercise. And something that Ms. Johnson alluded to as well, those that may not necessarily have their computers in the home still, which to me would be very, very scary. That means they're not abreast or having to apply themselves even to get comfortable in those areas, which keeps that subsystem kind of in a space of control, which is also not good. So we all need to adapt regardless of where we're at on the socioeconomic scheme. And how can financial education prepare us for the future? Think about what skills and knowledge matter most going forward. Oh, okay. That was new. Okay. That was new. Okay, that was interesting. Okay, so remember, you think about what skills and knowledge matters the most as you go forward. Any takeaways by anyone? Start with you, Ms. Johnson. Any takeaways?
Even just referring to your last point, financial education, the reason I know have a little more in-depth knowledge is I asked the AI to teach me about blockchain.
Mm,
So there's nothing wrong with having questions. There's something new to learn every day. Ask a trusted assistant. And then once you kind of get it, ask someone else or look someplace else just to verify the knowledge that you're receiving. And I'm complete.
excellent. Dr. Cheryl, any takeaways?
Good teaching, needful in the community. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Clarke Jr., any takeaways?
The future is soon.
Good. The future is soon. That's good. Miss McIntyre, what say you? What takeaways from tonight?
I think the digital money's here. It's not going anywhere. And I think a point that you made in reference to principles don't change, but applications do. I think that's important.
Excellent. Mr. Grinley, what say you?
Just have a sense of gratitude that someone in our community has the type of knowledge that can help us as a community move forward. Sometimes a lot of this useful information is in other communities, but there's a dearth of it in ours. So I'm just thankful that you have chosen to assist us in growing this way. We appreciate you, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And my takeaway is mainly that as we continue to elevate the conversations, we recognize how we used to think the world was so large and expansive. It still is a big world. Actually, the world is smaller. And with us being abreast of the digital capabilities, we recognize, I remember, and yes, I'm dating myself again. I remember in the 80s where it was like stuff would happen in, say, the United States, and it would take a while before certain parts of the globe, even the Caribbean, would know what's going on here in the States. So it would be like a lag time. But nowadays, when stuff happens, it's instantaneous. Something can happen, like even, what happened with the earthquake in Colombia. That information was shared globally. When that thing happened, it wasn't that, oh, these people will find out eventually. No, 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 no. Everyone knew at the same time. The information was dispersed. It wasn't no lag time, which is another excellent space of being in this time frame and in this respective season, because now, as I understand it from my perspective, there's no more excuses. It's okay not to know. It's okay not to be 100% feeling that you're at some sort of competency or mastery level. That's okay. No, that's totally okay. What's not okay is that you're choosing not to be abreast. You're choosing not to apply yourself. You're choosing not to be in practice. You're making the choice to say, oh, okay, I'm waiting for someone to show me. Like, wait a minute. Okay, showing is one thing, but then you still become beholden to the person that you're showing. And that becomes part of the pedagogy of oppression. Because now you're stuck in a space waiting for someone to say, okay, it's like the baby birds chirping, waiting for their mother bird or father bird to come back after they made the kill to put their food in their mouth. And then eventually, those same birds are going to manifest and push those chicks to say, wait a minute, you want to start getting your own food. We're not going to sit here and be like, okay, I'm going out there to work, going out there to get it, going out there to purchase it, going out there, figure out how you going to have a roof over your head. And it's like, you just sitting there like, okay, I'm just here to eat. No. And even the financial adeptness that is up to us to still allow those principles to be seen to say, wait a minute, there's other things other than just household responsibilities. Life is such an expansiveness that the principles have never changed. The way about going about it may have, the ability to access it may have. But to say that, oh my God, that's what y'all used to do, y'all old. Mm-mm. There's no old thing. There's things that work, and there's things that don't work. And the things that do work, they're never old. They're just things that, wait a minute, this thing has worked, and it's going to continuously work, and it's going to continuously be well positioned, and I'm going to rock out with that, regardless of you, if you're going to be ignorant enough to call it old. I'll be smart enough to say that's wisdom, and I'm going to utilize that wisdom and just apply it in this space. And so I appreciate everyone as being a part of the circle. And as always, as we continue to stay elevated and stay in those respective wonderful spaces, this is the opportunity that, you so desire to, you know, um, just support the platform. Here are some of the ways that you can do your support. If it's via Cash App, see, going into those mobile payments, digital. You can do it via Cash App, $ Gregory Clarke D Min. If you choose to do it via Venmo, another digital mobile payment exercise platform, just simply Gregory Clarke D Min. That is my handle on Venmo. And Zelle or PayPal have the same email address attached to it, which is esquire971@gmail.com. And until next time, as we're going to continue in this vein of financial literacy, and we're going to expand a little bit more on some of these possibilities. Have an excellent week. Keep an eye on your money. You don't have to fall in love with it, because the love of money is the root of all evil. But you're supposed to keep an eye on it. Be mindful of it. Allow it to grow. Allow your possibilities and your gifts and talents to manifest for you in the marketplace. And allow for yourself to be in those spaces that after a while, you can turn those dollars that you have created from your enterprises into areas where they can start to bring back even more pregnant money. And that's how you start to build your wealth cycle. So once again, this is Dr. Gregory Clarke Sr. Have a great week. Be powerful, be express, and remember to keep your head up. Have a great week.
Good night.
Night, everyone.
Good night. Good night.
How are you doing? This is Dr. Gregory Clarke, and I hope you enjoyed this past video. Now, once again, I invite you to become a part of the Comeback Collective Circle on this wonderful time frame, and not only by enjoying the video, but going to get my book, Life in the Huddle. You can get this copy and get your copy today, right now, by going to the Amazon.com website and type in Life in the Huddle. This is a great book, not only for yourself, but it's a very autobiographical tome that I've written. And the reason why it's so important, you can connect with the Comeback Collective Circle. You can support this community by financial means. You can do it via Cash App at $Gregory Clarke D Min, or you can go via Venmo to Gregory Clarke D Min. Or if you desire to do it via Zelle or PayPal, you can simply use the same email address, esquire971@gmail.com. I hope you enjoyed the journey. Can't wait for you to see you as a part of the circle as we grow the community. Have a great day.